It is
Hello,
time
everyone.
for episode 1 of the long anticipated Revive and Drive podcast. We are here. And what we are about to do will hopefully help thousands, hundreds of thousands. Hopefully, will help anybody out there who's listening to today's podcast. My name is Brad Larson, aka BigTruckerB, and this is my friend and also SAP counselor Charles Erby. Say hello there,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Now, what is a SAP counselor, Charles?
It's someone that, well, at
SAP is the acronym for Substance Abuse Professional. We are people that are called service agents with the Department of Transportation. We are inserted right into that area of the MROs, employers, consortiums, and we're one of the special players when CDL driver gets a drug and alcohol violation posted on the clearinghouse. They have to find an SAP, a SAP. We take over at that point. The government give us a lot of power and authority at that point also. We could do things pretty much at our discretion if we are qualified and certified. We basically help drivers that have violations, take them through treatment, look over them, evaluate them, and it's a big bureaucratic type position. However, there are a few SAPs that's like me, and I'm just going to have to say it, just like me, that have more of a touch with drivers, because if you have a violation because of drugs and alcohol, you've been touched by drugs and alcohol, and you need somebody that has experience and has soft skills in order to talk to you, to motivate you, to elicit and engage information and emotions with you so you can have a degree of recovery when you end the SAP process and not return back to drugs and alcohol.
Now, Charles, we have been seeing on the news what happened in November. I believe people were talking about drivers losing their CDL for failing their drug test and happened to go to the SAP program. And if they didn't get to step 5, they had their CDL revoked.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of misinformation out there going on where people are saying that if you're on the SAP program, even at step 6, any part of the SAP program, your CDL is gone. And that's untrue.
That is untrue. Yeah.
And we're here to clarify that. And we're also going to be talking about quite a bit. I mean, this is our first episode. We've got, gosh, so much planned. But today is just kind of our intro. And to show people that there's always hope, that there is misinformation that needs to be corrected, and the facts need to be told. Would that be correct? So
absolutely.
They definitely had a lot of people scared with this new law.
Yeah.
And what can you tell me about it?
Well, just like me and you've been talking throughout this, November 18th of 2024 was dramatic time for a lot of drivers. A lot of misinformation was going on, and me and you and others were trying our best to get that information disseminated out through YouTube to the public about the process, but it still was just a very stressful month, December also, and it's still lingering on. The misinformation had to do with, will my career be over? Just point blank, seriously, is it done? No, it's not done. And you get these very intimidating letters from the DMV from your states talking about turn in your CDL. And we reviewed one earlier and laughed at it. It wasn't funny, but you know how serious they tried to intimidate you. And that was a little bit overboard. What it is, the bottom line, the solution, if you still get a letter from the state DMV talking about revoking your CDL and dropping you back down to a regular license and even affecting that, just call me, Charles the SAP. Go through this SAP process. It's very quick, typically, and very easy to understand. And when you steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be completed on the clearinghouse. That means you no longer have to stand down. You can start interviewing. You can stop just sitting at home watching Jerry Springer, and you can start now getting back into your career, talking to employers, trying to get hired again. When you do get employed, step 5 is done by the employer. That's the step that cleans up your license. If you got prohibited, you becomes valid. And if you got that letter and you probably got downgraded immediately, you get reinstated back to your CDL status by step 5, the return to duty step being done.
And here's the thing is when you hit that step 5 or the step 6, it's up to the employer for the random drug tests. When you're at that step 6, if you were there in November when they were suspending CDLs, you did not lose your CDL. It's only if you, for example, you started the company and say you pissed hot, right? That you entered the SAP program, or you did not enter the SAP program by the time that law came out in November, then your CDL would go down to a driver's license. And I believe at that point, you would then have to restart and get your CDL all over again. I believe so. But I do know that just because you're on step 6 does not mean your license is gone. Like, that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. In fact, they already implemented that the downgrading of the CDL law way before it became viral for the November thing. Arizona did it. I know Missouri did it. Like, if you failed a drug test and you had a CDL, they basically said, okay, well, you're just restricted. You just have a regular license. Does not mean you have to go to school. And that's kind of the same situation and now in a way.
That's exactly right. I'm gonna jump in here because you hit on a point that a lot of people don't get explained to them. Your CDL is just basically suspended. You do not start from scratch and have to go through all the CDL testing and reacquire your CDL license. No, you don't have to start from scratch or the beginning. It just it's in a state of suspension until you do go through this SAP process. Then when you do, it gets immediately reinstated back to its proper status. And it's good. You're good and it's cleaned up.
I've been out of the trucking game for a little bit now, for about a year. And I don't know how the economy is with it. But from what I've gathered is a lot of companies right now, because there's an influx of drivers lately, one, trucking pay is just not as good as it used to be. So because of the influx of drivers, but now another issue a lot of these SAP drivers are having is companies that were hiring SAP drivers are no longer hiring SAP drivers because they got plenty of drivers to come in. It used to be a desperation thing, but my old company, Tribe Transport, does not hire SAP drivers at the moment. They've got too many. They've got too many SAP drivers. A lot of these companies, it's huge how many people have failed drug tests, for example, marijuana. And I think I have this PDF file that you sent me of the whole marijuana testing for truck drivers is becoming a leading cause for a growing national trucker shortage. But I don't think there is a trucker shortage. No, I believe that headline's wrong. What do you think?
I think it has to do with some fake news. However, that's just our opinion. But it feels that way strongly when you compare it to what's really going on with the economy. In my estimation, it is the economy. I could be wrong, but I think it is the economy that's affecting these trucking firms. Not so much that there's a shortage of drivers because everybody's smoking weed. No, that's not it.
I believe it's the complete opposite. I don't believe that there's a shortage of drivers at all. I never have. They've always talked about how there's a shortage of drivers. But yeah, the economy, 100%. Because, I mean, in all reality, SAP drivers can be a liability and can cause, if they decide to backtrack and do some drugs and then wreck the truck, then it's a problem. But here's another myth for you, Charles. I don't know if you know this. And if somebody out there who's watching this video can leave me a comment or email me a photo for proof, any type of proof, I've been asking for this for a while.
Yes.
does not. If you hire a SAP driver, your insurance premiums do not go up. They don't give a shit. They know nothing about it. That's not a thing. Companies will lie to the driver and say, "Oh, we won't hire you because our insurance rates will go up." A lot of companies, the bigger ones, are self-insured. So why won't Swift hire SAP drivers? Why won't like Warner or like the mega corporations, the ones that are self-insured? And I have yet to find any proof that if you're a SAP driver, it makes insurance rates go up. Now, if you speed, absolutely. If you're a wreck, if you get caught using, absolutely. That's a big fine. But to hire a driver that has failed a drug test and who has entered the SAP program, that does not affect the company's insurance rates. In fact, I feel like felons and SAP drivers could also be your best drivers because they're desperate.
That's right. I've looked at the DAC report, the infamous DAC report, and also the agency that really spearheading this, Hire Right. I looked at those guys, as much information as I could on the internet, and I never seen any status or markers concerning increase of insurance or anything concerning SAP drivers. There was no outstanding information that just bust you in the eye about SAP drivers are bad for us. There's no evidence of it. Just outrageous evidence of it. So I agree with you on that. That I don't think, and there again, I'm not an employer, but there's just nothing outstanding that shows that employers are under a lot of insurance duress, financial duress because of SAP drivers. It's not there. It's not there to be found.
You know where I think it stems from? The older trucking days, where when a company sees that a driver has failed for a drug test, they probably think of the harder drugs, and I think, a lot of the drivers, I'm going to show you guys here, have been failing for the marijuana, for weed, and I, from what I gather, is some companies are actually being a little bit more better, but there's a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Stigma, against somebody that's failed a drug test for
marijuana
anything.
For anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a stigma that's been attached since the 70s. I think in the 70s, there was a lot of loopholes everybody was going through. And a lot of drivers were on speed. Speed was pretty popular in the 70s and the 80s.
Yep.
And because they did not have those mandates of rest, and they had to get those trailers in to get paid. They had to get those trailers in to destinations, and they had to drive nonstop. They felt that way. So speed was very prominent back in the 70s and the 80s, and it probably did cause some problems. And people considered, those amphetamines a serious drug, and you still can. However, that's not the case nowadays in our modern times of transportation with the Department of Transportation. It's not. It's more marijuana. It's not even really
what it is.
It's marijuana. It's because marijuana is so prevalent. You got the marijuana shops for people that do have the medical cards and etc. And a lot of people are just smoking on their off time.
You being a SAP counselor, what is your opinion on, and I don't want to try to get you in trouble or have anybody take jabs at you, but what is your opinion on marijuana? Do you believe it's a good thing for medical benefits, or do you think it's also a bad thing like alcohol? You know what I'm saying? For instance, if somebody's on the road, they're getting high, obviously bad, just like somebody's on the road, they're drinking, but alcohol is legal, marijuana isn't ish.
Right.
It's a 50-50. Federally, marijuana is legal. Whereas alcohol. So what do you think about marijuana?
Well, as a drug and alcohol counselor, international drug and alcohol counselor, and I do agree with our clinical research on it, marijuana is in two parts. There's the THC, and then there's pretty much the CBD.
That's why I'm looking into it.
CBD, good.
Mhm.
CBD, everybody out there in the world, listen, CBD is good. It's a product or a chemical that has a lot of medical positives to it and a lot of analgesics that help people with pain, sleeping, calmness, and it doesn't register as a narcotic or a drug when you take a drug screen. Pure
Sometimes.
CBD. Yeah. The CBD product
Sometimes.
out here. Yeah. Sometimes the CBD product that does register has THC in it. So
we need
THC.
to
Yeah.
that I'll pull that up here in a little bit. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that. There was a driver who actually failed a drug test, and he's actually suing the CBD company that
Yes.
he
Good.
purchased. He got out of a gas station, and I feel like,
Mhm.
okay, well, CBD is
Yeah.
almost at all these gas stations. How do you know which is good CBD and not good CBD? But we'll get more into that later on in the show. So
I'm glad somebody's doing that because that's the problem with truck stops and et cetera. Everybody's selling it. It does
Mhm.
have a particular metabits of THC in the CBD. It always does. It's not clean. It's not a clean product, even though the labeling will say it is. It is
Mhm.
not. So
Yeah.
CBD is good, in my opinion. THC is the rat. It's the rat in the refrigerator. It's the thing. It's the roaches in the cookies. THC is bad. It is a terrible substance that's always attached to marijuana. It just is.
Mhm.
It's the agent that gets you high, that
What do you
gets you
mean by
that good
that?
feeling. It's well, like I had a video out this summer, and I explained that CBD is is a psychedelic. You know, it's
Mhm.
just like mushrooms and cactus and etc. And
You talk
it
about the
can't
peyote?
peyote, yeah,
Yeah,
peyote. You
peyote.
know, and you are getting high. You're getting not an upper, not a downer, but you're getting the nice little twisted high. It's not necessarily extremely motivating.
Mhm.
It's just a nice, calm little twisted high in your head, a nice little roller coaster ride. And it does affect drivers. So if you take a tremendous amount of it, you smoke a lot, you could be affected negatively under the wheel because
But
you will lose your focus.
yeah, it can get tired. I mean, I'm sure with CBD, there's like the uppers and downers too, or is it just CBD, just a normal? I don't know how that works yet. Because you know how
Yeah.
like with weed, there's the sativa and indica, I think.
Okay.
Like there's, I don't know if CBD has the same type of things. Like there's like a certain weed where it gets you super like energized up and high, and then there's a certain weed that just makes you want to fall asleep and eat and all
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
if CBD does that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They got the marijuana nowadays is the hypoponic and et cetera. And it's almost a marijuana that's grown in a lab almost where they can transmute it with other chemicals to give you other effects, just like you
Mhm.
mentioned. And the marijuana, in comparison to alcohol, doesn't even register to the wreckage that alcohol can have with a driver.
Absolutely. Yep.
Absolute death on the freeway with alcohol.
Yep.
Absolute
I mean,
marijuana.
regardless, no substance should be used while driving.
Yeah,
Plain and
but,
simple.
but like what you're going to, marijuana does not necessarily kill you.
No,
You
but
are
you
high.
can build a tolerance to it, and you'll
There
have to use
you
more to
go.
feel it.
See, it used to be with marijuana, it was grown naturally as a plant and smoked naturally. But now, once again, marijuana is like Monsanto. It's
I never
a Frank,
thought
it's
about
a
that.
Frankenstein weed that's can be transmuted. You can actually cross pollinate it with other products to get different effects, taste, smells, everything. And with that, marijuana can be pretty dangerous. It can be because of the way it's not normally like it was back in the day, more on the recreational side. Now, marijuana
Uh-huh.
is turning into a real drug, and you will have withdrawal symptoms when you no longer have it in your system or you don't see you anyway soon you're going to put it in your system, you will get withdrawal symptoms from this new strains of marijuana. And they can be pretty antagonizing to a person and everybody
Really?
around that person. Yeah, you can see and feel the effects of how their personality has changed. Marijuana
I
is
didn't
now, yeah,
I didn't know that, man. Like, can you
yeah.
imagine like the withdrawals for that? What is the one thing that you get when you have people that are calling you up? What
Yeah.
would you say is like the top of the list for the most failed drug tests or why they're on the SAP program?
Yeah, it's marijuana.
It's marijuana.
Yeah, THC, marijuana, and the marijuana has a lot of different ways to describe it. The MRO has a lot of ways. The marijuana from the convenience stores,
Mhm.
Delta 8.
You know, when I was reading this article about where it says marijuana testing for truck drivers is becoming a leading cause of growing national trucker shortage, which we both have discussed. We think it's the economy. We think there's many other things. It's a hard job, being on the road a lot. A Wells Fargo executive said drug testing for marijuana is causing a shortage for drivers. Why is it a Wells Fargo executive? Like,
How's he in
what?
his orbit when he's a banker? But I,
Why is a banker telling us
yeah,
what's like? Trucking industry drug policies have become even more stringent. Truck drivers are randomly drug tested on a quarterly basis as well as in the event of an accident or traffic ticket, which I've always believed that should be. I think that's everybody. If you get in an accident, you can get a drug test or alcohol test, even in a car, I believe, right?
yes,
In 2020, the trucking industry implemented a law that required all truck drivers who had failed drug tests to be listed on the federal database so that other truck companies would avoid hiring the drivers. I don't like the sound of that. Previously, drivers could theoretically move to a new company that would not have knowledge of the positive drug test. I've heard stories about that a lot.
mm-hmm.
This law impacted nearly 110,000 truckers, about 56% of which were reported for marijuana use. 56%. Make it legal at this point.
At this point, yeah, because it's already in popular use. Not only with truck drivers, I mean, a lot of rich. You think Jeff Bezos don't on his yacht? You know, come on.
I mean, gosh, like I get it's a dangerous job, and yes, let's look at it this way. The drivers that have wrecked under a substance is a tragedy, and they get their justice. They not their justice, but they get arrested. They get and I think what the looking at the other side as well. What about the families? All we're doing is adding another narcotic because alcohol is already bad and it's legal. And look at how many families alcohol is taken away from drunk drivers. Yeah. So I kind of see where the marijuana thing is, but at the same time, when someone is at home, and they use recreationally, like that should be what they do at their own time should be their own time. Problem is with that is how long marijuana stays in your system.
There it is. Yeah.
Which is, can you explain that? And how can you explain that, Charles? How it stays in your system, which can be from 30 days to it goes by the fatty cells, right? Like the whole process of it.
Right. That's the part. Good point. That's the part that shuts down the party. Truck drivers with marijuana. It stays in your system too long. It will get detected easily when you take a drug screen. Typically, if you've been knocking them down pretty good, the weed, it will stay in your system around 30 days, a month. And just like you were beginning to say, because of the way THC acts, it wants to stay lodged and goes dormant in your body and has to just filter itself out throughout time. That's the part that hurts you, truck drivers, if you really want to smoke weed, is that it stays in your system too long.
And there's no way to establish
there's no
when
way.
you smoked last.
There's people use UPass, also other type of products to mask, but the testing is now in a generation where the technology is really good and it's very
Really?
sensitive,
I,
and
that's
it's catching it catches you past a lot of times. So yeah.
that's interesting. So you get, what about the fake P? Because like there's companies like Quick Fix, I think. These guys who are highly reputable, they have updated their formula every single year because as usual, that
Yeah.
now the mind you, just for everybody's quick fix is not a way to hide drugs. It is a synthetic urine for what you do in the bedroom or any other thing. It is not. I'm not telling anybody out there to
Yeah.
go
Yeah. We're not
get this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not condoning this, but I do want to bring it up for educational purposes and a conversation. So just anybody out there, just know like this is not promoting nothing right now. But I want to. So I don't know if you've seen these guys before, Charles. Right here. Now they're
Oh,
supposed to be. It's like a sex toy. We'll just put it like that for people that are into the keying on you type stuff. It's a
oh
weird
yeah.
thing. That's what it's made for. But you get your bad apples who want to use it for other things, and of course, it comes with like they have the belts and all that. But every year, these people and other companies like it update or upgrade their.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like, how do you think technology is going to fight against this type of stuff?
Well, you know, you're pretty much right. If you got a chemist on your team, you can always move around, the formulas to keep
Mhm.
ahead of any detection for drugs and alcohol or drugs.
But that's
Because
like, but you were talking about something that they drank and that would hot mask it. Compared to this,
yeah,
it's a completely different liquid, right? Like,
yeah, this I'm not so much familiar with, but just by the little information I have that you showed me,
mhm.
I'm not confident that they can get away with it either on a continuous basis. Just like they have a
That's
chemist on their team, they can always change things around. With drug screens, is always marked by markers. They look for certain markers and if you could move things around and come up with a new marker that's not going to be detected, then
mhm,
you get away with it. However, just like the cat is always chasing a mouse, and
mhm.
Tom every now and then catches Jerry. Every now and then when that dog ain't in the way, hitting him over the head, catches Jerry's little ass.
If you get so that leads us into our next little subject here: getting caught.
Yeah.
All right. If you get caught with that, is that a failure, or are they going to make you sit there?
Yes.
And if you try to refuse it,
Yep.
I mean,
They have a word for it. It's want to be considered adulterated. Uh,
adulterated.
yeah, that's
Okay.
one of the terms they use. Synthetics, is a term it escapes my mind right now. I'll think of it when I'm not thinking of it. But it's the clearinghouse will catch it, and it's considered a positive. Clearinghouse don't want to fool with a whole lot of this. If you're not negative, you're positive. Either you're black or you're white. Either you're 0 or 1.
Mhm.
All the gray area gets filtered to positive.
I
You
feel
know,
like if you got caught with the synthetic though, it'd probably be a lot easier to get a job after you finish the SAP program than it would be if you pop dirty for any type of drug. I know it sounds crazy, but certain companies will not hire you if you used any type of hard substances. But if they see marijuana, they're like, okay, we'll give you a chance.
yeah, yeah,
So in a
yeah,
way, I feel like it. If you've been out there with that angel dust or any of the harder
yes,
stuff, first get some help. Get some help. Like
yeah,
don't don't try to hide it and then continue doing what you're doing. But if you would go that route, refuse it because otherwise, I I gotta stop giving
well,
out bad advice. But
you
like,
don't have to say it. They already know it.
they-
Yeah,
but if you refuse it, here's what to expect right here, Charles.
hmm
Basically, it's a refusal is basically another positive, correct?
refusal is a positive. Everything, if it's not negative, it's going to be a positive. You
Mhm.
know, so with this drug screening, they how to put this? marijuana is more acceptable to employers. Now, it's all bad and it's all a positive. However, in my modern experience, let's say all of 24 and the beginning of this year, 25, I interact with employers every day. And they don't see marijuana, the majority of employers, as a deal killer.
Mhm.
It's not. Other drugs, they think about it a little bit, but
Yep.
marijuana,
I've also
they're more,
noticed companies
yeah.
go time frame, like how long ago was it? Was it recent?
Yes.
Was it,
They try to have a criteria to try to get a handle on this driver, but
Mhm.
Marijuana doesn't totally destroy you like other drugs in the eyes of the employer. However, marijuana is getting to the point of there's even legislation from. I talked to a guy a year ago that's pretty high up in the Office of Drug Management with the White House, put it in petitions to start to get marijuana taken off the no list for CDL drivers. There's other activists out here working in that area trying to get marijuana more legalized for truck drivers. There's a
Mhm.
big effort that's happening behind the scenes for that. And there's even FedEx has even read where they have a marijuana program similar to the one I'm trying to establish. Theirs is out of the counselors out of San Diego had put together a program to help marijuana drivers with that work with FedEx to go through a quick program to get back on track, which is amazing. I think that's pretty cool.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I'm going to do some
Absolutely.
more research on that, and we're going to have a real good workshop on that one. So
Yeah. So
me and you right now are on YouTube.
yes,
We had a very popular podcast a couple of years, maybe a year ago or so,
it was about a
that
year ago.
a lot of drivers have called me about. Now, here's the thing: I get calls from SAP drivers, and their SAP has went Speedy Gonzalez on them. I got paid, ha ha ha. I got the bag, I'm out, and
Mhm.
you just can't do that. System was not set up for a SAP to do that. Now, in a bureaucracy part, yes, they did nothing wrong. They take you through steps 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're out as far as the bureaucracy. But what about the driver? And he's still a human being. He's still a human being. And he's
Mhm.
still moving from employer to employer. The bureaucracy said, the regulation says that when he moves from one to another, the SAP documents have to move also along with him. So they depending
Which
on the previous employer to send it to
I
the
am
new
glad you
employer. That
brought that
don't
up.
work. That
That
don't work.
did not happen to me. I was working for a company. I think it was right when you and I first met. And I already took like 3 follow-ups or 4 or something like that. I went to Tribe Express and I took like, I think throughout the whole year I was there, I took 1. I still had like 5 in, but none of that was documented. It was like all
Yeah.
lost.
Employers don't want to have to fool with the clearinghouse. And they
That's
see that SAP drivers are an overhead on them. Even though they have a whole compliance department, they still don't want to do that due diligence of that part
and
of making sure the new employer gets their documents.
I feel like they take advantage of SAP drivers that are desperate.
Oh,
They
now
are
you want to have a whole Oprah show on that, don't you? Because that's that's a monster show right there that I hope we have soon. Wow.
that I mean, we got right now. I mean, listen, I'll go into it a little bit. There's these
Okay.
companies. Why is it when there's a SAP driver that's desperate for a job, looking all over, only people that hire them is like foreign companies. These foreign companies are always 1099. They run crappy equipment. They pay, some actually can pay pretty good, but again, 1099, or you're just not getting the same care that you would get at a normal company. Why are SAP drivers still getting punished when they have when they have done their due diligence?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
best way to compare it, look at felons. They go to prison, they serve their time, they get out, and now they can't find a job. So SAP drivers, same thing. They fail the drug test. They go out, they try to find a job. They find one, but they don't have the benefits. They work for a company that runs crappy equipment that pays them less because they're a SAP driver. I have seen companies actually say, "Oh, we'll pay you 70 cents a mile, but if you're a SAP driver, 55 cents a mile."
There, I got a call like that yesterday, and he just said 55 cents, just like you. And he was mad. And what can I do? I'm just a sap, but I listened to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, he can call me and
Yeah.
like we'll talk. And
Yeah.
we actually do. If you guys are still here on the show, we do plan on bringing some drivers on here to talk
Yeah.
with us as well. We're gonna help you guys get jobs as well. We will help you throughout the entire process, and especially first and foremost, getting your SAP done if you haven't completed it. You can guys go through Charles Erby here at Focus7.llc. And if you want to throw out your phone number, Charles, real quick, then give you a call.
Yes, remember to call me, and I hope we have it scrolling also at some point. But 404-620-1944. Just
There you go.
call Mr. Charles and just Google Charles Erby or Charles the Sap and get my information. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and definitely YouTube. So, and just Google me, Charles Erby the SAP. Well, back to what you were talking about, I get a lot of calls from some SAPs that had from drivers that had existing SAPs that kind of they can no longer get a hold of to ask them questions. And there has to be some form of service after sale. It has to be in this process and in this profession, because there's still questions that come up for the driver. And a good SAP has to still be accessible to those drivers, even if it's been 6 months to a year after the initial assessment, because those questions are pretty important. And they don't have a lot of them. They're not information is not available to them. All they know, I better call Mr. Charles, and they do. So I get a couple of calls a day concerning people needing my services, and 20 calls about questions. And now, because I'm on YouTube, I'm the guru in the sky, and I got all the answers.
Well, hopefully this podcast, which we're going to host which we're doing now every Saturday, we can come out. We'll have those questions written down. We'll have you guys come on, and I can also help you to the best of my ability. Charles, you've seen my messages on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you've seen the absorbent amount of people
You're getting hit too. You're getting hit, I think, worse than I am. I think you are, personally. I think you are.
Unbelievable. And I feel so bad because some of these people have been waiting. And I'm like, last year was a very bad year for me. And we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, and mental health as well, and how the SAP can actually affect people's mental health. But last year, I could not do nothing with this podcast. I couldn't do nothing with my people on TikTok. I couldn't do nothing with helping because I was in the process of trying to help myself. So I hope it's not too late. If you guys are out there and you guys did, finish your SAP, or you guys did find a company, good. I'm happy. If not, if you're still looking, we're here. We're ready to help. We're dressed in white like angels right now. We are ready to extend our hand out to you.
We're not going to stop helping because we are doing the business that others should be doing, because you still need help. So we're not going anywhere. We're just going to try to facilitate this thing where we're able to be equipped to help more people and disseminate more information to you. Yeah. We want to have our stuff together. So we want to do that. But Brad, as drivers out here, and I use the word with you, suffering. There are drivers that are suffering. Now, SAP is supposed to be a second chance program established by the White House and the federal government. It's not supposed to be where you could manipulate and take advantage of drivers. That is not the way it should be.
That's a highlight, man.
And we're going to have a long podcast for that. And all you people that's watching, all you drivers, get your questions ready. So when we have that podcast, hopefully we'll make you feel better. We'll make you feel that you're part of a group, and being heard.
I need to save that clip, because that, Charles.
They are. I get so many calls like that. I had a driver, and I did a video assessment with him. He's a tough guy. He wasn't no punk, just by looking at him on the screen, and the way he talked, and his behavior. he can probably clear out a saloon. We, he didn't take no mess from me either, But
Mhm.
he called me last week with I could tell he had tears in his eyes, but I think it was more because of rage. But it was hurt too because he mentioned that he got a little girl at home and he's got to put food on the table and his wife. And he had a huge paycheck coming of $1,800 and they paid him 81. Now he's driving back home with
Oh,
$81 after being days on the road. And there's nothing he could do about it, and I have to talk him off the ledge. I had to do that a few times with drivers. You're talking about bad mental health. That is suffering. That is suffering, unnecessary, needless, vicious suffering.
you,
And
you
I
know,
hate that for my drivers. I hate that. It affects me too. And I know it affects you. We had a long conversation about it. It kills us a little bit. We get emotional and we shouldn't, but we do. We can't help it because they're human beings.
let me just say for some people out there who might be thinking, well, they made the choice to do drugs. They made the choice to light one up and they made the choice to drive or fail the drug test. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They made the choice, but what mental health problem were they having that made them make that decision? What was
Yeah.
going through their mind?
Yeah.
What did they want to heal? It's a bigger thing, right?
It's a
Like
bigger thing. Yes.
it's got to do something with a home. Like something is hurting them so much that they choose to do those drugs, that they don't feel happy enough. And the mental health system in our country is not good. When
Oh,
last year I had just a major, like probably one of the worst years of my life,
yeah.
and I'm still dealing with it, but my mental health is getting a lot better. I've been
Yeah.
almost 6 months of straight counseling nonstop, but there was a time where I attempted suicide and I was in a psych ward for 72 hours.
Yeah.
Now, they actually asked me if like they were going to
Yes.
hold me longer, but they had a what do you call it? A psychiatrist that he came in and he talked to me. They went from Kingman, they transported me from Kingman all the way to Las Vegas, by the way, in ambulance. And stayed at the facility, and he talked to me, and I think just getting away from the screen, getting away from life, like just everything, and being in that facility helped me a lot. I know it sounds crazy when you hear psych ward, you're thinking, oh, you're bunched up, but no, it was being able to have access to that help, having access to all the food you can eat. Like, oh my gosh. The
Yeah.
only thing that sucked is I couldn't smoke or vape or nothing,
Yeah.
but it was a big eye opener to a lot. And they taught me a lot of like coping skills and like stuff that can, kind of prevent me from having those thoughts of just wanting to die basically, and
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
facilities like that aren't everywhere and not accessible like that.
Yeah.
It's not an emergency for a lot of people, and a lot of people are too afraid. They feel like they shouldn't seek help because it's an embarrassment.
Right. The stigma, just like you
Just like
mentioned,
more
they
stigma.
stigmatize. Yeah. Especially with family and friends. They're the ones that can really, oh man, you just weak. Oh man, that
uh
kind of, yeah, that tears you apart
well,
when they don't understand.
what was with it what it was for me is I have all these friends, or had. I lost a lot of them. I mean, you're one of the very few that I have left.
Yeah.
But you no matter how many friends you could say you have, you're still afraid to talk and reach out.
Yeah.
Period. I don't want to bring somebody down with my negativity. I don't want to bring somebody down with my
Right.
problems. They got
Right.
their own
Right.
problems,
Right.
so
I feel that
uh
way too. Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel that way
I
too.
I felt really bad. Like just the other day, my best friend, and I have two best friends I've had since second grade. Okay, I called him and I needed to borrow some money because I just
Mhm.
going through some
Yeah.
problems, right? And he said, "Dude," he said, I normally would help you. You've always paid me back, but I'm kind of upset with you right now." I said, "Why?" He said, "The last time you called me, it was just for money, and you haven't talked to me in over 6 months."
Wow.
I said,
That's a good friend.
"Oh my god."
Yeah.
You're right, man. Like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, why did I?
I felt that.
Dude, it hurt me to the core
I
because this is
felt
my
that. I
best
felt that.
bud,
Just
dude. Like,
that's real
this is my
life. That's real
yeah.
life.
Like, I had the text message and I said, God, you're right. I need to start reaching out to my friends more, and that's what I've been doing. Like today, I reached out to my buddy who he's also a truck driver, but I've also known since I was a kid. I wouldn't say he's my best friend, like, but we're friends,
Good.
And I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, you want to hang out?" Well, he's hungover, so and I'm not drinking. So like, I told him, "Well, okay, well maybe we'll plan another weekend. I hope you get better." Blah blah. And then every day now, I text my best friend. I say, "Good morning. I hope you're having a good day, bud. How's
Good.
your day going?" Like, and I'm
Good.
trying to do better on reaching out to people because I have had this pattern of ignoring people until I needed something,
Yes.
and that shit needs to stop. Like now.
Yeah.
So
Don't feel by yourself. I think all of us has been touched by mental illness, if that's a strong term. We could call it life. The thing about life is that it it gives you the tests first, then the lesson later, which is
mhm,
backwards. You want to learn and then get tested on what you learn. Life throws it at you and hits you right in the face, and then you figure out what you need to do.
yeah,
And it's hard. And a lot of times with us, and I'm including myself, everybody's been some touch to some degree with mental illness. We all been hit upside the head with the 2x4 of life,
mhm,
and it makes you want to isolate. It makes you want to, especially if you got the masculine sex, you're a man.
mhm.
We don't want to talk about it to other people. We don't
Oh,
want to go to the
absolutely
doctor.
not.
We want to
Mm-mm.
isolate and go to the bat cave and try to figure this thing out and be left alone.
Yep.
And that's just the way we're wired. You know, and sometimes that hurt us because we are in our own head. And I had a
Mhm.
guy tell me, when you are in your own head, you could be in a bad neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Bad
And
neighborhood up here.
oh shoot, yeah. And here's another thing about isolation. When I became a truck driver, I used to kind of enjoy playing games on the road, being by myself. I used to love being by myself. I got used to it. I built up this being by myself thing,
Yeah,
and then I get out to the real world. And like now all my friends, that weren't truck drivers that were living out here have became truck drivers because I've talked them into it basically, and they're
yeah,
doing good. But now I'm stuck out here with really like no human contact, and it now I hate it. And I felt that it has really hit me because like I've spent my entire 20s working, being isolated
right.
in a semi truck. Not
Yes,
I've had my social life, don't get me wrong, like there's
yes,
some viewers here that I have met personally, I've talked to them, but I'm talking about like, yo, let's go out this weekend, let's go to the casino, let's go to the lake, let's go hiking, let's go, like there's a bunch of shit to do out here.
yes,
And I can't call no one and do that. Well, I'm trying to now, but it's everybody's so used to me never reaching out. Now, in order for me to have that connection with people, I have to reach out
yes.
to to
We
to people.
we all do. That's part of recovery. From drugs and alcohol and the emotional, mental challenges we have is that we can't be by ourselves and try to deal with it. We have to reach out to people for a variety of reasons. We need the socialization. We
Mhm.
need to hear another voice coming to our ear instead of that voice in our head all the time. We need to hear other solutions and options that other people
Yeah,
bring to us. Also, one of the main things is we need accountability. By talking and being with other people, they can hold us accountable.
just
Because
like my buddy did with me. Like,
yes, because if we left it to ourselves, we're calling sick on everything.
yep. And I mean, it hurt me, like not because of
Yeah,
what I did wrong. I felt like I felt very
we
bad. Like
need
it hurt, and it
need
brought
that.
me
It
out.
hurt,
It,
but we
it
need
woke
it. It
me up.
hurt.
I was like,
Yes, it
fuck,
don't
I'm
feel
reaching out.
good. It don't
No,
feel
the
good,
truth
but
hurts.
the truth hurts. Well, what they say, the truth will set you free, but first it'll
Yep,
piss you off. That's what I'm
absolutely. No,
saying.
he didn't piss me off. But so let me ask you something though, Charles. Do
Yes.
you believe that social media has also killed the socialness of people as well? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, social media has brought people like you and I together, right? And I feel like we've developed a very good relationship, a friendship, like that kind of thing. But I also feel like it has isolated a lot of people, and it's also caused a lot of controversy, a lot of the misinformation we've talked about, a lot of problems, and it can mess with our mental health too.
Social media can be social media, the advent of it, in my opinion, has stimulated a lot of poor mental health because we don't have the human touch with each other anymore because we don't need to. We can just see it on our screen and think we're getting socialization by watching influencers and podcasts and social media. And we're not really, it doesn't really work. And we can also be influenced easily. And also we can run into something that's the most damaging part, in my opinion, of poor mental and emotional health is what's the word for it? Spiritual attacks. We do come under spiritual attacks, whether we know it or not, or realize it or not, or even believe it or not. We still do. And it typically comes in the form of a thought in our head. We can have thoughts in our head while we drive in our truck going from San Diego to New Mexico. And we're in this little cab all by ourselves, secluded. And all we have is the road and our thoughts. Now we're thinking about our baby sister at that family reunion that embarrassed me. I hate that little. Now, we go into thoughts like that. And we don't have a spiritual program to help with the spiritual attacks like this. So we just run with them. And they don't destroy baby sister. They destroy us.
Absolutely.
So the solution is, the minute that happened, the minute those thoughts happen, it's typically with relatives and family members that piss us off. That's the first line of hate, is those folks. And then there's go to employers and friends, is that we got to immediately forgive. Immediately, just say the words in our mind, if not say it verbally. I forgive you. Just, they say, who are you talking to? But we got to say it either in our mind or verbally, where we can hear it through our ears.
Forgiveness does go a long way, but also don't tolerate the same shit either. And
we don't have to tolerate that. That's a whole different thing. If you keep tolerating it, you're the problem.
What do they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like,
GW. Yeah. I remember he said he got it mixed up. But when we need to forgive immediately. What about when we have thoughts of anger or thoughts of fear? Thoughts of fear. We have to immediately tell ourselves that hasn't happened yet. Why did I think that was happening? It hasn't happened yet.
I'm glad you brought the anger thing up, because I'm also in anger management counseling. I only have like a couple more classes left, but one of my tasks that I have to do was, 1, meditate, and 2, come back to YouTube. She asked me, like, what did you like to do for hobby? I said I used to love making YouTube videos, and I went a long time without making a video. And like, you could tell my mental health a lot better, because like I'm back posting almost every day. Like now I'm actually here. We made this, we're doing what we've been talking about. This was supposed to go on April last year, and here we are in January, Oh no, February. Today is February 1st. Perfect time for a video, like for our first episode. But
it's amazing, Brad, how I kind of watched you go through it, and then you came out the other end, and I know you. We hang out a little bit, and you seem even stronger. You don't seem like the whole old Brad. Is almost, God is famous for this, and I'm not trying to preach church and religion. Just think of it as just a clinical talk of God.
Okay.
He don't leave you as the same person that you used to be. You come out even better. So, that's one of the things that I see with you. You came out a lot stronger. So the pain did have a purpose.
I was humbled, basically.
Yeah.
We'll just put it that way, and it opened my eyes that I don't need to overreact to shit. But we kind of went on a tangent to mental health, but that's basically.
Well, I think our drivers need that. Yeah, our drivers need this. Yes.
And we're going to go more into it. we're definitely going to go more into it. But the reason why that was brought up is why people choose to even do the certain drugs. But I just want to just loop around to why this is brought up. If you feel like your mental health is getting bad, seek help first. Don't pick up, weed or hard drug. Or don't do it. Just don't risk your career. Don't risk, don't put yourself in a situation. But if you do put yourself in that situation and you made that mistake, still continue to seek counseling, and also give Charles a call to get back on the road and give me a call, and we'll get you a job, and hopefully, I don't know what companies are hiring. I don't know anymore because that one gentleman we talked to, Dion, that the sapcompanies.com, he kind of disappeared on us, and he had something so big, man. What?
It was a really good idea, and I guess like Edison, you got to fail 1,000 times to finally get the light bulb to work. I don't know.
Maybe one day when we get farther up, in this podcast, maybe we'll just make our own website. I'll revive it to that podcast website that'll have all our episodes, and then we have all the websites, all the information, or all the companies are hiring, and maybe all the information from you, and we'll just have it all on one, one page.
But the piggyback on that is that I do every now and then get calls from trucking firms, especially here in Georgia, that they obviously have seen our podcast. And it's typically a woman, and she has a new firm, and she wants to hire SAP drivers. She wants to be a second chance firm, and she will give me the prerequisites that the drivers she wants me to filter to her and stuff. And that is the stuff we wish we could get on a mass scale.
I want to bring her on the show one day.
I will
talk to her.
Yeah, but they always have prerequisites, which is something that's good. I got a flatbed and I got 3 of them out in the yard. I need drivers. Just keep calling me, Mr. Charles, with drivers. And they employers really like that. They like to contact the SAP that's accessible for that area, because the bureaucracy of the FMCSA says, SAP, stay out the employment area. They ain't none of your business, and we're going to be watching you if you do. I got a lot of bureaucrats that made themselves my enemy, and I haven't done anything to them. They just don't like the fact that me and you are helping people more than they would. Well, I'll stop there. I think people get it out there. I think people get it. But if we could, especially with your help, we get some people like that. But the last thing I want to put a button on about mental health is I want my drivers to, especially with marijuana, one of the things that's really going to help you is Google this, look up this thing called mindfulness. Mindfulness. It is the point where when you're going through bad SHIT craziness up in here, and there's typical reasons why you are, is either you thinking in the future, which causes anxiety, or you're thinking about the past, which causes depression. Mindfulness says stay in the moment. And that just helps so much with mental health and so many of bad, distorted thoughts. Mindfulness, always bring your mind and your thinking back to the present moment. Constantly do it every time you go into a bad batch of thinking.
I like that.
It really works. It works on me. I'd have to do it several times a day, because our mind can be a tricky, ugly little thing if we let it get out of hand. We have the power to regulate our own mind. God expects us to also. We have to. The mind is our tool. It's not supposed to run us. There's
actually a great book you should check out called The 4 Agreements, and it kind of it's a small, I think it's like 120 pages long. My cousin actually shared it with me. He's out of Florida, and when I read it, and they actually made another one called The 5th Agreement, and it's kind of like that. It basically sets you up like with how to deal with certain situations with within yourself, and within like separating the anxieties of like, all right, what's more important, what's not, but feeling calm about certain things. And it's a whole different, it's a good book. I'll have to have to show or send you a copy. I have it on my
Yeah,
Google.
good. Send me a copy. But this is the
Yeah.
things why people smoke marijuana. It's because those are things those are the things that we live with in our head, and we have no
no,
we
no.
have no solutions for it. So we just came out with a few solutions to help our marijuana drivers. Mindfulness, forgiveness,
Mindful. This
you
is why
know,
they smoke. Yep. Gosh, that is so
anger.
true.
I think you expressed what you have to do with anger, and
Meditation.
meditation,
Meditation.
you know,
Meditation.
and
I'm still
fear.
trying to get used to it.
And fear is
So
the big one. Fear, it hasn't happened yet. Just tell yourself, why am I thinking come to that conclusion? It ain't happened yet. Just talk back to the fear. You're not
do you
real. You're just trying to scare me. Boo. No, you don't scare me. So yes.
you
So
can
those
talk
are things
about
that help.
the one thing I want to say is burnout in
Oh,
trucking.
yeah.
I've had that several times. Like you get a burnout, you get not just a mental burnout, but you're just like you can love your job as much as you want, but you're gonna get burned out if you do it too much. I mean,
Yes.
after 10 years of driving, would I go back on the road today if I could? No, Charles. Here's why. Maybe tomorrow I could change my mind, maybe next year, but going from over the road to just switching to a whole new different career that I never
Yeah.
thought in a million years, being able to just work your 9 to 5:30 but actually getting paid trucker wages like it and not have to deal with the FMCSA and DOT. Like I do miss trucking, but I don't feel like I'm gonna have the burnout because
Yeah.
I'm not on the road all the time. It's like you're just gone for 8 hours, you're doing your job, and then you go home, and then you get to have free time. I have free time to do this. I have more free time to actually enjoy myself, enjoy the life that I did not
Yes.
enjoy or did not experience when I was in my 20s, traveling, working, 11 to 14 hours every single day, being gone for months at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but if you guys experience burnout on the road, don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to go back into college. Don't be afraid to start another
Yeah.
job. Like if you don't like trucking, there's nothing wrong with saying, yo, I'm good. Like, there's these people out there who will condemn you for
Yeah.
not being a truck driver. They will
Yeah.
talk so much shit. Oh, you can't handle it out here on the road. It's not that. My mental health and my family is more important than trying to appease other drivers that have been out there for 20 plus years with cancer on the side of them and that they don't have nothing. Yeah, they might have a house that they're never at, like
Yeah.
and there might be just a few marginal drivers out there who have everything they want, but are they happy? Sure. But I could tell you that the majority of the drivers that I see like on social media and that I've talked to, they're miserable. They are.
Oh,
They're always trying to one up each other. They're always trying to like prove like they're lying to themselves. They really are. Trucking can be a great career, but if you do it too much and you're not taking care of your body, you're not taking care of your mind, you're not taking care of your family, you're going to have that burnout and you're going to screw yourself.
with this
But
burnout, the hallmark of being burned out is that you become cynical, just ugly cynical. You become apathetic, and you got a lot of anger inside you that's turning into, it goes backwards, turns into depression. Anger that flows backwards turns into depression. So you got
yeah,
depression and you're cynical. Nothing means anything. What's the use? That feeling of what the use?
I still do
Cynical.
that every now and then. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I think we all have days where we have those thoughts of like, this is pointless at this time.
Pointless. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the
It's
things I've actually thought about doing so many times, and every time I think about it, it sounds so nice because I've learned about freedom. I've learned that I don't need to work 14 hours a day to enjoy life. I've actually had thoughts of getting an RV,
mhm.
just going wherever I want, doing odd jobs to make money. Like if I run out of gas here, all right, fine. I'll tow the car with me and then just work some odd jobs, Uber, DoorDash, whatever, make that money for the RV and just do what the hell you want. I ain't gonna be rich, but at least I got a roof over my head, a vehicle, and I'm
Right.
enjoying life the way I want to. And
That's right. That's right.
the
That's
more I
right.
think about it, man, it's just sounds so much nicer because just being, yeah, I might not be making $2,000 a week, but just being home the way I am now. First year was a little rough because I was just getting used to it, but now it's just, it's so peaceful. It's so nice having free time.
You bringing up a good point. You see, what you did is something that's going to help a lot of people that's watching this right now. To help with burnout is that you got to get a pen and paper and you got to write down your purpose. Purpose helps fight burnout. You got, especially if you're a man needs purpose. $2,000 paycheck per week because you got a good job doesn't do it. You will burn out. The money
Doesn't define.
it doesn't protect you from burnout. Purpose helps you. Come up with a purpose. And when you come up with a purpose, then you could drill down into all the other little goals that you want. And now grinding got a meaning to it. So when you run into areas where you just exhausted, you always go back to your purpose and you always go back to those goals and know that there's a reason for it. And the main thing, he just mentioned it, everybody. Listen, have an end game. There's nothing wrong with having a purpose of being a truck driver for 18 months. Now I'm going to get an RV and I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon and I'm going to go fishing. Have an end game. It always helps with burnout.
I have something.
Yes.
I have something for you too. It's going to sound a little bit weirder, I guess, or not weird. It's going to sound kind of off the beaten path.
Yeah.
If you feel that you're not happy in truck driving and you feel that you want to get out, but you're stuck because you put yourself in so much debt, like me, because you were making that money. You were making that money to buy stuff, right? And now you're like afraid to leave trucking because now you're going to owe on that stuff. Stay in trucking, pay that stuff off, get the hell out. Go make less, live off less. And when you learn how to live off less money, you'll be better off. You don't always have to get rich because in the day, and money is great, but if you have everything you need, like what are you just going to do? Is you're going to spend more money on more stuff that you're end up throwing away next year. I'm trying to turn into a minimalist, Charles.
Yeah.
Because I have maybe a duffel bag worth of clothes. I have my YouTube setup, which I've always had since I started it. And I'm content. If I have this and my wallet, my phone, I know it's electronics, but that's just how I am with that. But that's my initial, I don't need a mansion with 15 cars,
Yeah.
If I can pay my phone bill every month, pay my bills, the money will come by living small. Because you ain't paying extra shit. You ain't anybody that takes loans for Rent-A-Center or takes loans from all these loan apps or takes loans, you're going to end up just constantly owing, or credit cards. And what I'm trying to say, I kind of went off here, is when you live small and you can be happy, you don't need more to be happy, right? You can be happy with just yourself and the little things that make you happy. Like I like having my laptop and my phone. That makes me happy. That's all I need. Right?
That's all you need.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and I'm talking materialistic. I'm not talking family. We all need family. We all need friends, but I'm talking materialistic. I feel that if you can learn how to do that, then you could start progressing to making, just building that income, building that money in your account. Just eat top ramen until you're a millionaire. I just took that whole speech and made it into something simple. That's the best way to put it.
That's
eat top ramen until you're.
It works. What you mentioned is very important for not only our truck drivers out there to understand this, but everybody. But we're concentrating on our truck drivers right now.
Yeah.
Is that he mentioned having a minimalist lifestyle in order to manage your expectations and desires and to know the real important things in life. So you can shut off all that noise that society tells you. You got to have a CTS and an Escalade, and you got to be a homeowner. Yeah. We sometimes that's not going to make you happy. Concentrate on the things that will make you happy.
I'm glad you said that, actually. I don't mean to cut you off. See, this is why I like having you on here, because you explain what I'm talking about. Like, I'll go on a tangent but you'll explain it in a more simple term for people, right? Because overthinking, it does that to me. But when you could set a goal of buying a house, but nothing is wrong with setting smaller goals first, saving up. Don't worry about the house right now. Save up, live minimalistic, save up, and then get your credit up. After you get your credit up, then make your first big purchase like a car, but make sure it's a used car, pay cash. Dave Ramsey talked about this. This is nothing new. Like, I'm not giving out some major, oh my God, eye-opening advice.
Drivers,
like,
listen. Yes.
like this is simple shit. Buy a car, make your first purchase. When you show that you can make your first major purchase without making, paying for a loan, then you can start if you want to get a house, but you don't need nothing big, simple enough for you, your family, and that's it. Because property taxes, Charles, as you know, it could be.
So taxes,
I'll leave that with that though.
That's a real good point, Brad. Is that one of the things that affect our drivers concerning drugs and alcohol? It has to be finances. Finances is the biggest thing that worries a man to his grave. We all running around in silent desperation. We act like we're cool and how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. But deep down inside, we got a silent desperation because our finances. And let me and Brad try to help you with this.
What's up?
Well, I would ask all my truck drivers, even if you're not on the SAP program, understand what truck driving is. You're making a salary that's somewhat equal to most PhDs. And you're just a regular middle-class man in blue jeans. You're not a PhD. You're not an MBA. But you're almost approaching that type of money. So you're going to have a good, logical, sound system, financial system. You just can't put money, cash a check, and put it in your pocket and pay everybody first and pay yourself last, and then go into debt, just grinding and drilling yourself into debt because you don't have a real system in place. I would like for all my drivers to have a system in place. It starts with a budget. And it has to be written down. It cannot be in your head. It has to be written down line item by line, and keep track of your budget every month. Know how much money you always got in the bank and know how much money you always owe. Know how much money exactly has got to be distributed to people. Know exactly how much you can save. Get track of your money. Have a system and keep track of it. You got
Unfortunately, it has taken me over 30 years to learn that, Charles. When I was in my and it's really important people listen to this, because when I was in my 20s, when you get into driving, you're right. I went from making $200 a week, maybe $300, to making my first $1,000 a week to $1,500. And you know what I did, Charles? I spent it. I spent it.
Yeah.
I throughout all my 20s up to now that I again, sometimes making less can help you a lot more. Now that I'm making less, I have a set budget, and I'm starting to finally get my money. I mean, I'm still broke as shit, don't get me wrong, but I'm paying back. I'm getting my shit caught up from all those years of hard work in my 20s, where I just squandered away everything from gambling to buying shit on the road to just again, this is where the minimalistic lifestyle kind of takes place. Is I would buy all that shit. Where is it now? Where is it now?
Yes.
And so it's taken me a very long time to learn that budget. I've screwed myself, and now I'm finally getting back on track, but it's going to take me a while,
it takes a while. Yeah. Sometimes it takes a while to finally be the richest man in Babylon, but we got to eventually try to work that way. The key to that, and I learned this my own, I don't have all the answers, so I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, but I'm just talking. It's saving. If you can't save, or if you don't save, greatness is not in you. You're just another MPG walking around. You got you got to save, especially if you're in your adult years, and especially if you're a man. You got to be intimately familiar with saving.
When he says save, he doesn't mean you don't need to save lots. You can save a little bit of time. I always keep
point.
I keep $20 in my pocket.
Yes.
all the
That's
time.
the thing. What saving teaches you is discipline and sacrifice. That is the
Ooh.
things that will get you ahead in life, is
Yep.
to learn discipline and sacrifice over and over and over again. We can't get a
Mhm.
big $1,800 paycheck with all those 50s and hundreds and all those 20s and all those little messy ones in your wallet. Your wallet look like the scriptures, it's so thick
Yo,
with paper. You
let
can't
me tell you
live
what
like
those
that.
18 and 20s is going to look like negative 100 in your account one day
Yeah.
if you guys keep buying and like if you have to make a car payment, if you have credit card debt. It's nice to have all those loans, but once that $1,800 a week comes, you're down to $100 to make you last for the week. And I am talking from experience. I'm not the financial wizard at all. I fucked up. I'm just gonna put it out there. I fucked up. And I'm finally learning from it. And it took literally me getting a shittier paying job to get back on track. Isn't that weird?
That is weird. Yeah. That is
Like you would think that with making so much money as a truck driver, like I'd be banging about my money. And then it's like, all right, well, now I'm making $3,000 a month compared to the 5 or 6 grand I was making. Like now I really gotta stay, on track. Especially good.
You bringing up stuff that just got me want to jump and cut you off so much, because it just
No, I do it
me.
too, man.
It
That's a
spikes
good
me
thing
so
about
much.
this, bro. Yeah.
Sometimes if we can't handle 12th grade, we got to be sent back to 3rd grade. And that happens so much to us. I hate going back to 3rd grade. I hate it.
Hey, I'm back in third. Actually, I just graduated the 4th grade. I'm happy right now. So I'm pretty ecstatic. I went all the way from 12th grade. Now I'm back in fourth. Went back to 3rd. Now I'm up in 4th, and I'm happy. Let's hope I don't go back again.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad when we flunk all the way back out. And life teaches us, and it has to happen, and unfortunately do. But the good thing about having discipline and sacrifice in your life and practicing that, it gives you the one thing that money can't buy: sleep.
Oh,
Sleep.
man.
When you sleep throughout the night. When you're so worried, you don't sleep. You're tortured.
Man.
You not only don't sleep, but you're in torture at night.
When I was in truck driving, that's one thing I got a lot lack of was sleep, because just the hours were insane. And I did it for 10 years, man. And now again, I go to bed around 9 or 10 on work days. I'll wake up at 5 or 6, and I don't have to be at work till 9, but I still wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning. But it's nice to have a regular sleep schedule again.
Sleep is gold. I'm telling you, sleep is
so gold.
It's the new drug. It should be. I mean, it almost gets you high when you go and drift off, and you can feel yourself finally at peace because you did everything right today. So you got to get a good night's sleep. That is gold. And that's good mental health. So, but you just don't get it free. We have to pay for it. We have to pay for good sleep to get it. It costs a lot too. It costs weeks, days and weeks and months until they reach into years of sacrifice and discipline, financial discipline. Truck drivers, that has a lot to do with you wanting to get high and use drugs. It's financial areas. Typically with the man and the old drug counselor told me this, and it's true, and it's pretty crude, but it's just true. Our men's problems are either women or money. Now he said it's either pink or green, and he was trying to make a joke, but it's either women or money. And we got to have discipline in those two areas, or the wheels will come off. And so right now, me and Brad is going to finish up our topic right now and move to the next one concerning money. You are in a high paying position. Even as a SAP driver, you're doing better. You're firmly in the middle class. You have the option. Well, you are now a man that's bringing you and your family into the middle class. A lot of men don't have this privilege.
Listen, you might have these drivers that are in the SAP program might have taken a pay cut, and they might be working for a shitty company. But if you could just survive it until you're done with your follow-ups, Within
Yes,
5 years,
yes.
within 5 years, I think that then it goes off your record. Then you have a complete restart and you have the experience of a driver again. Hopefully you learned your lesson and then you get back to driving for the big money. But do you really think that trucking is always going to be like this? I mean, I'm talking about money wise, making money wise, because with the self-driving trucks they're talking about, and I feel like I wonder how long this is going to last before
It's wow. That is a depressing thought about the future of human beings in trucking. We have to fit in where we get in now, because the Teslas and Elon Musk, and there's other huge companies
Nicola,
that already got the driverless trucks out there. I seen them the other day. They're beautiful, but there's no
here in
human being in.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me pull it up real quick.
Now there's other things. Miss Jerry Banks.
You've talked about her. I know her.
She's one of the kingpins in this SAP area on YouTube. Watch her videos. She expressed something to me that you can get certificates in AI concerning trucking. I have to revisit her to make sure I get it right. There's areas that one door shuts. There's other areas and windows that open. And I think if you could get a certificate some type of way in the AI truck driving driverless field, there may be, you no longer will be a truck driver, but you can fit in where you could get in, and there may be areas in there. So trust God. Really? And yeah, there's something, things are changing so fast. Elon Musk is just shaking up this cookie jar.
So you ready for the hard question, Charles?
Yeah. Hit me.
This one's gonna hurt you. What do you think's gonna happen to SAP counselors if all the drivers are gone?
Ouch! Ouch!
I don't think it's gonna be in our lifetime or anytime soon. We still have a long way, but man, like, do you think SAP counselors? I mean, are they gonna take a beating too if AI technology takes over?
So everybody's gonna have to be adjustable and adaptable, including those of us that SAP drivers.
But SAP counselors also do with like airline pilots and construction.
Yes, the whole
too, I believe,
FTA,
right? Like
FAA, railroads, Coast Guard. Yes.
So you got some of those, but the trucking might
trucking is the huge animal. Well, there will be people that have their life is needing counselors in all type of areas. AI is going to bring a lot of stress and a lot of new mental illness out in human beings, because now we interacting with this cold, sterile beast known as the computer.
Yeah.
And this thing and if it comes up with a personality, which AI can probably do, and a disagreeable personality, but you got to work with him every day. We just don't know, and it won't. And I don't suspect it will be good for human beings.
Look at this. China has their own self-driving.
A truck running on China's highway is driving without a driver. It's moving smoothly and comfortably. If you like this invention, smash
in the heart of.
Wait, where'd it go?
That's not real.
How did it work, my friend? How did it work?
What? He's in the backseat eating a bologna.
He's getting towed. No, that's still funny. Where was it? Anyway, I gotta show you this though. Let's see. So they're actually out here in Arizona on Phoenix. They drive I-10. I think so many different ones now. It's only getting more advanced.
Yeah. It's moving so fast. Those are good questions, Brad. I think everybody that's in our earshot right now listening on YouTube to us, they better have a discussion about it also, especially if you're in the trucking field, in all areas of the trucking
They're
field.
the new frontier in driverless vehicles being tested right now.
How soon could it be before somebody looks up and doesn't see anybody in the driver's seat on one of these?
So we want to be fully self-driving within the next couple of years.
Boris Softman is Waymo Via's head of engineering for trucking. Right now, Google's self-driving company Waymo Via and several others are using safety drivers like Bob to supervise what are basically big rig robots. Instead, the semi can navigate by itself using a guidance system of 28 cameras and a whole slew of radar sensors that map the immediate area and can peer over a half a mile down the road. Waymo says right now their biggest hurdle is planning for unpredictable human drivers. Technology comes as the country faces a growing shortage of more than 80,000 truck drivers, partially fueled.
So they say, I just want to say, they say their big concern is the human drivers. Well, I mean, there's also self-driving cars that Waymo has out. Pretty soon, self-driving cars, self-driving trucks, and then we'll just be sitting in the back chilling, making podcasts.
Yeah. What's that guy in the Jetsons or whatever his name is?
Oh, me, George Jetson.
Yeah.
And Boy Elroy. Hey, real quick, it just dawned on me. You're as a SAP counselor, are you just licensed for truck drivers, or can you also do airline pilots? And
yes, we do all 7. I think it's 7.
So if I knew like airline pilot or a Coast Guard, I could send them to you.
I get airline pilots and flight attendants.
That's a
lot of flight attendants. Yes.
Wait, flight attendant has to go. Flight attendant,
but
or
we do not have a clearinghouse. The clearinghouse is only for CDL drivers, but every other mode of transportation have their own rules and regulations, and we as SAPs have to know them inside and out. Coast Guard, railroad, FTA, which is the subway trains. And then there's the FAA, which is the airlines, and then there's the.
So they don't have a clearing, or do they have their own type of clearinghouse for the airline pilots? And
they don't have a clearinghouse yet. They just have to do things on their computer in-house. And the clearinghouse. So
you're telling me, like, if I'm a pilot right now, I'm sorry, and I'm out flying, I smoke a doobie, I fail a drug test, I could do what the truck drivers used to do, just run to the other company real quick, get hired, or will they find out?
I think they put a kibosh on that. Yeah, they do have things hooked up with computers. It's networked where that's flagged. You got a flag on you.
I was about to say, man, like that would have been. Woo, that's not fair. Why are truckers getting picked on like that?
Yeah, new employers are able to, I guess, run their own type of query or whatever they do, and they can find out if you have a violation attached to you or not, if you're a flight attendant or pilot, because I get flight attendants, and
interesting.
I don't get many railroad. They are really independent outfit. A few Coast Guards, I got them, and they got some strange regulations that you have to know,
That's a whole nother. Well, then shoot. Sorry about getting my desk hitting here. Anyway, that's a whole nother industry.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll let everybody know now if you got a family member or anybody that's a pilot or Coast Guard or whatever.
Yeah, just call me.
Yeah. Do you charge differently for that, or are you the same price?
A lot of people do. I do not. That's one of the things I pride myself on, and it does. I get stung by it because I see people that charge $800, $900, and they still get a lot of clients because the assumption is, well, he costs more, he must be better, and that's not true. I'm one of the leaders.
It's all the same thing with you.
In fact, with a lot of drivers, they find out my fee and how I do things, and they immediately want to dump their SAP, and they just can't do that. And I don't encourage them to do that, but they get really mad when they seen, I wish I would have came to you, Mr. Charles, because
you followed the industry standard like everybody else. You just charge the fair price.
But you don't have to nickel and dime them and gain clients. You can charge a huge SAP fee and then send them to treatment, which is your buddy, and have him charge a lot of money for so many sessions you prescribe. So you're helping your buddy get some money out of the drivers. So everywhere he goes, he's got to dip into his pocket to take care of you, the SAP, and take care of people he has to go to sessions for. And then there might be some last thing. They always got a cherry on top somewhere at the end in order to graduate, pay somebody in order to get this done, to get no, I have my thing all solid state. Everything is done for me.
Yeah, that adds on to the whole taking advantage of drivers.
That
SAP
is
drivers.
a lot of complaints about SAPs. And I don't mean to beat up on other SAPs because I'm one and I don't want to be that guy that's in the industry doing this.
Absolutely.
But I'm just
Yeah.
telling you what drivers are constantly coming back to me with. And I do not practice that philosophy. If somebody has a SAP violation, that means they're out of work.
If you
And
could
they're
change,
doing Uber. Yeah, they're Ubering and doing all this stuff that's anti-truck driving, and they're in misery and they're suffering to come up with a huge paycheck to pay a SAP. I try to keep my SAP fee as low as possible in order for them
Yeah.
to get into the SAP process. You know, I'm not a pope or anything, but God wants people to act right. You know, and I just leave it at that.
Exactly. If you could change anything with the SAP program or the laws or what do you think you could do? Sorry, what do you think that you could do to make the trucking industry better for people that have to go to the SAP program? Or like, for instance, like if there's any laws you could change or anything different you could do for the trucking industry and the drivers that have messed up, what do you like? Was there anything that you would make stricter, less restrict, or something that's more to actually helping and not about money, but actually finding a solution? Like, what do you think? Like, maybe instead of like maybe they have to, like, they do the drug counseling, of course, but maybe there's like some more stuff to it. I don't know. What would you change if you could?
I have to come back with you on that answer because now my mind is being bombarded with 1,000 things, you know, and I'm already got the spirit of an activist. So I'm always about
bureaucracy.
Advocacy. Yeah, it's the bureaucracy is the number one thing. Another thing is we don't need more regulation in that area. Our current president might be right because people circumvent regulations all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like the fact that employers see SAP drivers as bottom feeders, you know, the low lives, and want to take advantage of them. I wish there was a way that would automatically get they get a slap on the wrist when they even think of that. I wish employers will also be more diligent about the follow-ups. Take that driver through all his follow-ups. Don't involve him into your malicious, vindictive areas of, now I could treat this person this way. Take him through the follow-ups and help him get out of that SAP process. Don't string him along deliberately.
That's got no true words have ever been spoken. Like, I feel like there needs to be less regulation for sure, but also take away some regulation for that stuff, right? But also add a little bit like trade-off regulation,
right?
Regulation that companies have to provide those follow-ups within a certain time period. Don't make them wait. I know you send them a schedule, or right, or when
absolutely.
I don't believe companies follow that.
No, they don't. Some companies, most do, and they're really good. But there's always
I don't think Tribe did, because I went like a whole year and I did one drug test.
They didn't follow it. That they did not follow it. You're supposed to do so many drug follow-ups, which are secret randoms, in a matter of months. In 12 months, we as the SAPs, we can specify as many as 60 months. But I don't punish a driver like that. Keep him under drug screening
unless they really need it. Like, unless you could tell.
Yeah, we have the option to do it. Yeah.
I have actually seen. I kind of want to talk to a few people. I'm going to find out, get a clientele. But there's actually been people who failed SAP twice or had failed on SAP program again. Now, you think it's hard the first time, you go through it again, like getting a job. At that point, I kind of tell people it's not over, but it's harder, like you're going to struggle. You are. And same with one other thing. If I could change anything with the trucking, is the people that don't have experience, keyword experience, meaning they don't know. The people that have failed a drug test for marijuana after go to the SAP program, and they've never had a day of driving, and now they cannot get a job because on the SAP program, and the only companies that will hire them are the mega carriers, but they won't hire them because they're on the SAP program. And now The smaller carriers, they require 2 years experience. They get screwed.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
sad.
lot of drivers that are only have their CLP, their learning permit, and they're still in driving school, and they
Yep.
get popped, and they have to come
Yep.
to me, and they're befuddled. Oh,
Yeah,
I paid
they
all
can't
this
get.
money to get into this school, and they think it's over. It's not over. A lot of companies will hire drivers that have violations while they're still in school.
I think there was one company out of Michigan that will hire new drivers out of school. I don't know of many more. I know CFI will hire with 6 months experience. That's
Okay.
about the lowest. If you're coming out of school and you're already on the SAP program, I will do my best. I will constantly keep my ear open. Charles will too, and we will do our best, but that's all we can do to try to help is and we'll share it. But at that point, just keep your head up, save your money, work a shitty job, save your money, get your own CDL, go through your own consortium. And because again, it doesn't go on your insurance. It won't. Or not your own CDL, I'm sorry, your own semi truck. That's one way to get around it, Charles. If you're out of school, you can try to get your own semi truck and you can try to run. You won't, you can go through another consortium or drug consortium that'll give you the randoms, and then but you really got to be good with finances.
Well, you're
really
hitting on something that's really good part of recovery. The biggest reason why a lot of drivers have 2 and 3 SAP violations is marijuana. It's marijuana. Yeah,
it's like man,
it's marijuana, and they get popped. It's just this stigma, this ideal in the public's mind that marijuana is not that bad. It's everywhere.
It's not, but in the trucking industry,
you can't get caught with it in your system. You just can't, and it stays in your system too long, where your cat and mouse game don't work.
Have you ever had any SAP drivers for alcohol?
Yes.
Interesting.
They really do well with alcohol. Now, alcohol is a strange area with SAP because they still allow you to drink alcohol because it's legal, but you got to quit drinking 4 hours before your shift.
Yeah,
that way,
which I still think.
Yeah, it should dissipate out of your system.
I'm gonna go get fucked up. I'll be over there in 4 hours.
yeah.
Before I can drive home.
And
I got a fun fact for you guys. If you guys ever get fucked up at a bar and you don't want to leave your car at the bar, an average tow truck driver will charge you $75 to $100 to tow your car home, and they'll give you a ride. So for $75 to $100, you can get your car home and you get a ride home. Screw saving on an Uber and your car getting broken into.
That's good. That's a good deal. Put it on your credit card. Just make sure you and your car get home. That means,
but you ain't driving drunk,
Yeah. Well, with marijuana, people that get 2 and 3 violations, it is a marijuana situation, and it is moving into the area of addiction, marijuana addiction.
Which is a real thing.
And you have to make up your mind, do I want to be a CDL driver or do I still want to smoke weed? You got to make a decision. Either it's yes or no. You got to stop and make a decision. Now, a good SAP, typically, I just say I talk to my drivers extensively when they're in that area because they need to know that there's a thing you can do as a counselor called reframing. You can show them areas that they will gravitate to where they will automatically be more motivated to eliminate marijuana out of their life. And the key with marijuana and marijuana recovery is motivation. You got to get motivated either by yourself, do it to yourself, or have a good counselor motivate you. Motivation will help you eliminate it out of your life. Otherwise, you'll have to go through what a lot of drug treatment centers does for marijuana. They're called harm reduction. Just keep smoking, but don't kill yourself.
I'm a firm believer in harm reduction. I really am. I know a lot of people that are on like harder substances that I feel I would pray that they get off of it, obviously, but I also don't want them to kill themselves while doing it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in what's that word I'm looking for? Like promoting it and telling them to keep doing, but you cannot tell an addict to get off drugs.
No.
They have to want to, right?
Yes.
So if you can help them if you can help them in a way of, all right, well, if you're going to do it, at least be safe about it. Don't be stealing shit. Don't lend the money, obviously, but like,
Yeah.
like, don't
Right.
be getting yourself in trouble. Don't be, there's people that shoot out there. Like, don't be sharing needles. Like, I see stuff like that, and passing on viruses and all that. I don't condone any type of that drug use, but I also am not going to judge someone because what they went through in their life to want to do that, So just don't die. Like,
Just don't
everybody's
die.
human.
Yeah. Just stay alive.
Everybody's human. Everybody has life, and same with weed, like if you're you either choose your career or you're going to choose weed. And if you're going to do weed, find a job that you can smoke weed at, not at, but that you can, and it's not going to affect you. I mean, hell, there's a lot of jobs out there that they don't even drug test and they can pay decent, and as long as you're using normal, it'll be good.
Well, the thing with, and you mentioned it, the thing with motivation with marijuana is like I said, the thing called reframing. If you get your own truck and have a goal of being an independent operator, and you want to move into that area, now you are highly motivated and you want to be more aggressive, and you are taking a risk, which produces adrenaline. Now you are more apt to think more about that and be more apt to leave marijuana alone. You can only hold one thought in your mind at a time. So if you can move out the thought of getting high with the thought of taking a risk and building up and be a boss, the boss will slowly move out to getting high.
This stems back to the goals situation that we talked about. If you set your goals, then you can use those goals as your own personal high. So
it does work. Reframing does work, and it's one of the things as a drug counselor we do, because we cannot tell somebody you can't do that. That don't work, and it even makes you want to get high.
Yeah,
you're a grown man. Who you telling I can't? No. But what does work is give them other options. They just want an array of options to choose from. They don't always have to do this. They want to know, what other things can I do? And as a counselor, that's what you want to display. Give them other options. That works. So get your own job. You can even go and find out people that have liens on their trucks, mechanic liens, and get a real good truck real cheap and just finish off the mechanic work on it because you got it so cheap. Now you got you a truck, a discount. Don't pay full price for nothing.
Mind over matter.
Yes, there's all kind of options and games you can do. And when you get a truck and you see that truck in your yard and see that you're now responsible and this thing is a game changer and you're not a company driver and your spirit is high, it's like, nah, I'm a boss.
Yeah,
that moves marijuana.
And you gotta act like a boss.
Yes, but it moves marijuana or even drugs and excessive alcohol out, and you imprinted more with a new life and a new attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Absolutely, Charles. Man,
we covered a lot, didn't we?
This has been. I think you're right. If you got that motivation, if you got that goal, like we talked about, you'll be good. And this episode, I think, has came out successfully, and I hope everybody else is here so far. We're 2 hours in, and I'm getting really hungry.
It's been a good one. We really want our drivers to get well. We really do.
Absolutely. And here soon, we're going to allow people to come on. Our episodes aren't going to have a time limit. We're just going to go until we get hungry or tired or whatever. But I definitely want to thank everybody for watching. I think we'll probably cut it out here. Cut it now. I think we've covered a lot, but we don't want to cover too much in one day. We need more
we want
to
to
go
save
on. And we got a lot coming. But guys, stay tuned. We're gonna look on getting y'all jobs. We're gonna look on getting y'all in counseling. We're gonna look at getting answers out. We are gonna do everything because that is what Revive and Drive podcast is all about. But I'm BigTruckerB, Brad Larson. This is Charles Erby, and I want to thank you all for watching. And if you guys have anything you guys want us to talk about as well, please leave a comment down below. Also hit the like and subscribe to get the bell icon, and also hit the bell icon to get notified for every time we upload a video, because we're going to be recording every Saturday, 2 p.m. That's our schedule. That's our goal. That's how we're going to start. And hopefully I can try to set a time to release it depending on how long the videos are and how long it takes me to edit. I'm going to try to do full no edits and just upload it, but sometimes there's things in between we have to, but I don't, you have anything else to say, Charles?
Yeah, when you need a SAP, you got a SAP violation posted on the clearinghouse, call me. Just don't even think about it. Just call. I will answer the phone. I try to make that part of my pride and possession is to be accessible to drivers. You guys need a SAP that's accessible. The best I can. If I don't pick up the phone, I'll call you back. This is an important thing in your life when you got a SAP violation. It's pretty squeamish. I'm here to hold your hand through this thing. So just give me a call and I could be your SAP.
And here soon, we are also going to be doing live streams. I got to get better internet, but we're going to be doing live streams on YouTube and TikTok simultaneously. So you can find us on YouTube and TikTok as well.
So truck drivers call us. Yes.
And maybe we'll even do YouTube, TikTok, X, Twitch, and Facebook, and we'll stream all platforms at the same time. OBS Studios actually allows you to do that. So we'll definitely be streaming here soon. But right now, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and thank you all for watching and joining us today.